I'm Alex Makovica on the Rural Radio Network. Time for our weekly weather discussion where we are joined by Nebraska Extension's Eric Hunt. Eric, what a whirlwind it has been the last couple of days and what we are expecting in the week ahead. So let's go back to Friday when we were calling for these very high winds and just a lot going on. What did the state see?
Sure. Well, everybody saw some wind, and I think pretty much everybody at some point saw some sky obscured by haze and dust. So we had a lot of dirt kicked up by this last storm system from further south and southwest of us. And I do suspect that might have suppressed precipitation a little bit up in our area. Some of us did pick up some decent moisture on Friday. There was kind of an area in Highway 15 from Butler County up through South Dakota that did pick up over half inch of moisture. A few places picked up over an inch. And there were a few pockets where there was some hail. But for the most part, though, the precipitation amounts across the state were unimpressive. Most places had under a tenth of an inch. You were kind of lucky if you picked up more than a quarter of an inch out of this last system. But we all had some wind, and I think a couple of places to pick up some snow. Thankfully, the winds were not quite as bad as they were the previous storm system that we had earlier in the month, and not as high as they're going to be in parts of Nebraska later this week. So moving into this week, today, very warm statewide, looking at least in the mid-70s in the Western Panhandle, and I think the majority of the state will probably hit 80 degrees today, maybe even looking at mid-80s in a couple of spots. With low relative humidity and higher wind speeds from the south and southwest, we are expecting high fire danger to be an issue today. I think this is looking more of an issue than I was hoping for when I did Market Journal last Thursday. And I think it's going to be a bit of an issue again tomorrow across portions of south central, southeastern Nebraska out of the cold front. So tomorrow will still be a pretty warm day, certainly along and south of I-80 in the eastern half of the state. And depending on the timing of that front, it may still be relatively warm in the parts of central and northeastern Nebraska as well. Definitely colder tomorrow across north central and Panhandle. And then on Tuesday at late afternoon, early evening, we should start seeing precipitation moving into the Panhandle, rain changing to snow there. And that rain-snow line will start moving toward the east through Tuesday night into Wednesday. And as you get into further east in the state, that storm will really start picking up intensity. So the surface low will be to basically moving through Kansas again. This time it's going to have more moisture to work with. And I do anticipate there actually being a chance of severe thunderstorms. Low risk, but there's going to be a chance of severe thunderstorms across portions of south central and southeastern Nebraska Tuesday night. And rain should pick up everywhere east of Highway 281 Tuesday night. And that rain will turn to snow by Wednesday morning, pretty much everywhere in the state of maybe the very far southeast. And those snow rates are going to be pretty intense from Hastings over toward Lincoln and up to Omaha and into parts of northeastern Nebraska. I do anticipate there being a chance of a foot of snow across portions of northeastern Nebraska. And certainly there's going to be a chance of picking up 6 inches across a pretty big area of south central and eastern Nebraska during the day on Wednesday. Bigger questions, of course, being how much that actually is able to accumulate. Ground temps are going to be fairly warm after the next couple of days. And snow falling during the day and around the equinox it's hard to accumulate snow during the day this time of year. But the rate of snow may be so high that it just offsets any melting, and it may be right around freezing for a portion of it. So it's possible that we could actually manage some significant accumulations for a period of time. But realistically, the biggest issue is going to be the winds. In the statewide, it'll be windy, but it'll be very, very windy. Eastern half of the state, we are looking at sustained winds over 30 miles an hour for several hours. Wind gusts maybe getting up to 60 in a couple of spots. So the visibility would be pretty much negligible or almost nothing for a period of time on Wednesday. So I would just really strongly recommend that if you need to have any travel plans or need to do something, just get it done before Tuesday afternoon, because I wouldn't plan on getting that done on Wednesday.
Yeah, so sounds like wind obviously going to happen. It's just the snow accumulation. We're just not quite sure given the weather the next couple of days. So
that is a little bit in question. It's possible that you could have 6 inches of snow on the ground at 1 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, and by 5 o'clock, after it moves out, it warms back up a little bit again. With warmer ground temps, it starts melting off somewhat. But with the higher wind speeds, there will probably be some blowing. It is probably going to be a real mess for places that do pick up more than a couple inches of snow for a little while. Now, the good news is Thursday, most of that will probably melt. We should be back well into the 40s, if not in the 50s, pretty much everywhere with sunshine. And we do have another chance of rain again across the eastern third of the state on Friday afternoon. And then it looks like a fairly nice Saturday for most all of us. I think we should be at least in the 50s, if not close to 60 degrees with sunshine. So a nice end of the week, but certainly we've got big system coming in to work with this week, and I think there'll be another chance of precipitation again next week as well as we head toward the back half of the week. So the good news is we are getting chances for some appreciable moisture, which we do need. We haven't been bone dry this month, but we haven't had as much moisture as I was hoping we would get. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yep. Thanks, Alex. Take care.
Again, Nebraska Extension's Eric Hunt joining us for our weekly weather outlook. I'm Alex Makovica reporting here on the Rural Radio Network.